Hi, everybody. It's Agnes, and welcome to a discussion today with Marvin and I. Hello, Marvin.
Yes, what's going on? YouTube viewers, what's going on?
Marvin and I haven't seen each other for a while. We thought we'd do a little catch up, and we've had a similar thing going on. Something we've both noticed, something that we've both observed, and people have been sending us stuff and, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So we thought we would do a discussion about it because it's a pretty important topic of where do you get your information from?
Super important.
Yeah. So Marvin, we said that we were going to discuss where people are getting advice and counsel from about certain things, especially relationships or money or whatever, but especially in the relationship area.
Yes.
And what we have both said was that there's this kind of surge on YouTube of people dating coaches, dating people talking about stuff on YouTube. And you and I were a bit concerned about it. So do you want to say what you and I were talking about before we started to record? What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. So pretty much, I think over the past 5 years particularly, and really over the past couple of years, especially when you talk about these dating coaches and stuff like that, I just feel like so many of these dating coaches. Now, again, let me preface my comments by saying I'm not saying all.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about a topic, you can never say all or every when you're talking about something. You can't say all women or all men or every. So I'm not talking about all dating coaches. I'm talking about, a lot. They're talking about a lot, but I'm not talking about all of them. But I've noticed that so many people turn to these dating coaches to try to get an ex back, or to try to do this, or can I manipulate this person, or whatever the case may be. And to me, a lot of these dating coaches, that's what they're doing. They're teaching you psychological manipulation tricks that will never work and will never last in the long run. It may be a quick fix potentially. Usually it's not, but you have these coaches that I'm seeing on YouTube, whether it be man or women, make yourself desirable, by doing this, make yourself, blah, 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 by doing this. And it's manipulation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not really self-love. That's not true, real love. They're telling you to play psychological games with a man or a woman in order to get them to run back to you. And they don't understand. I don't think they realize like what they're doing is actually dangerous. And it's not coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? It's coming from a place of true manipulation in a sense, because these guys, like I know one that's really popular, a guy by the name of Corey Wayne, and he has a book called like The 3% Man or something, and he's basically teaching men in a sense how to, like, I'm not going to say womanizer, but he basically he's talking to a woman like he's talking about referencing women like they're cats. And he's like, and he goes, yeah, when a cat walks into a room and you try to pet the cat and the cat doesn't want to be around you and it leaves. He's like, but then when you stop paying attention to the cat, the cat comes back to you and then it starts to give you attention and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, that's how you got to treat your women and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the hell? Like women are not cats. Like how are you going to try to make and try to objectify a woman and make her like she's a cat and stuff like that. So there's these different coaches. I can't really speak about the women coaches like that, but I have seen some women do stuff like that and make yourself desirable, or make him want you, or stuff like that. And my whole take on this is just it's manipulation. It's not safe. Don't do it. Listen to Agnes. You know what I'm saying? Listen to Agnes. Listen to myself. Do it the right way, because those types of things don't get down to the problem.
Yeah. Which is what you were saying. You're trying to get. And if you really want a meaningful relationship, you've got to give up getting, and you've got to feel that which you seek from another. You've got to feel loved and wanted within. You've got to practice doing certain things, which we've discussed on many other interviews and YouTubes, and do those things so that you are then able to give to the relationship rather than try and get from the relationship. And I think, yeah, all those kind of techniques, and I even hear people a lot lately, because I'm getting a lot of emails where people are talking about intending. But a lot of intending is being used in this manipulative way. I'm hearing the intending, you know, I intend for her to do this, or I intend for him to give me this, or I intend for him to commit. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. That's very low grade intending. Yeah, you can use it like that. But
Right.
I think you get to a point where you go, hang on a minute. Is there any kind of warning bell about how selfish you're being when you intend that way? Because I think it's a very selfish intending process if you're using intending that way. If you really want a meaningful relationship, you kind of get out of the kindergarten intending mode, and you get to the point where you intend in a much more mutual benefit for both people way of using intending.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I don't listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, but when I see, you know, say I'm uploading or something, I see some of the thumbnails that say how to get him to, or make him do this, or make her love you, and I just go, oh, for God's sake. If you are going to follow that kind of advice, good luck to you, because you have just created yourself into becoming like someone that's just trying to suck.
Yeah.
It's like a vampiring mannerisms. You're trying to just suck. I need you to, I want to live off your life force, which is you reassuring me, loving me, wanting me. But if you stop for a second, you go, hang on, what is it about me that actually is motivated to do that? Then you got somewhere, a starting point there to actually go, okay, well, hang on, that's not that cool. How would I feel if someone did that to me, you know? And you've got a much better footing. But yeah, I'm glad you brought this topic up, Marvin, because, you know, just because someone's on YouTube doesn't mean they know what they're doing.
No, I agree. And that's the problem with information, and that's the problem with free information and stuff like that, or even whether it's paid. It doesn't matter, because that's what I've realized is a lot of people really don't know what they're talking about, or they do know what they're talking about. They just don't give a damn, because they know, like, they want the money, or they want this and that. So they know like what they're practicing or what they're preaching is wrong, but they don't care because they know they're going to make a profit, you know, and I'm totally against that. And that's why
me too.
I want people to be aware of, and honestly, like I said, just to most of these guys, just to stop listening to them, because they don't, like you said earlier, they don't get to the core of the problem. They're not telling you, listen, go back to childhood and figure out where you spoiled as a child. Because if you were spoiled as a child, maybe that's the reason why you think your specific person is supposed to spoil you, you know, or your specific person is supposed to treat you a certain way because your parents treated you that way and sheltered you, or whatever the case may be. And then, like you said, when people start peeling back those layers, they'll realize, like, oh, wow, he's right. You know, that's where my selfish intent is coming from, is because of how I was raised, or whatever the case may be. So I just think it's extremely imperative to be very, very careful in listening to these, you know, manipulative, you know, dating coaches. These tactics. Like, don't listen. And Florence Scovel Shinn said it in her book, The Game of Life, How to Play It. I forget what chapter. It's kind of towards the end of the book, but she says stuff like, anything that's basically gotten from your will forcefully is like ill-gotten, and it's not going to last. You know, she says something like that. And when I heard that, it really struck a chord, and I was like, wow. So she's basically saying, like, yeah, you can try to manipulate this, or you can get what you want, but, you know, it's not gonna, because she always believes in, you know, saying things like, I'm going to have this person or my equivalent, you know, or
Yes.
something higher and better under grace in a perfect way.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? These are
Yeah.
words that she uses, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So she's like, if that man is yours, then he's yours. You can't lose him. But if you do, you know, by divine right, you're going to have something that's his equal or better, you know? And
Yeah.
I think people don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 She was big on that, Florence. And she was such a power keg of affirmations and very well, she wrote that book, Your Word is Your Wand, and was very big on, you know, what you proclaim, the statements you make is
Right.
what you create. So yeah. I mean, the other thing that you and I discussed prior to recording was people giving their power to outside sources, such as tarot cards, numerology, psychics, and especially what was the other thing? There was one more.
Friends
Forgotten
and
what it is.
family.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
it?
and friends and
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like being mindful of where you get advice from. I think personally, taking advice from people that have got what you want and have still got it, that would be my best advice to someone, whoever you're listening to, whether like even people on YouTube, if you want a relationship or you want more money, has that person got more money, or has that person got a good relationship, and are they still, you know, are they doing it? Are they maintaining it? Are they enjoying it? All that stuff. So I
Right.
think there's got to be that someone has at least some experience in the particular area to a certain level. They don't have to be perfect, but that they've got
Exactly.
some kind of grounding of understanding how to manifest that particular subject. So,
Right.
you know, because I do see, and I know this is going to piss people off, but I'm going to say it anyway, that there are people that are talking about, especially the two hot topics on YouTube, how to make more money and how to attract a specific person, and yet they haven't done it themselves. And I think if you watch somebody, ask them, have you got that? Have you done that? Are you doing this? You have the right to ask, and then hear the answer that you get.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing that I always notice, because when I do watch YouTubes, particularly in this industry, which is the new age industry or the law of attraction, you know, whatever umbrella you want to use.
Right.
If people are asking you to subscribe and give them the thumbs up, then they don't understand the basics of the law of attraction.
Right.
Because if you understand the law of attraction, you don't need to say that. You actually practice, you just attract people, and you don't say those things. So when I see someone who's talking about the law of attraction that says that, I don't care how good their information is, I don't watch them, because I think, well, you haven't understood the basic 101, which is you don't need to ask that.
Absolutely.
That to me is a instant, I'm not watching you. Now, is that pretty harsh? Maybe, but after 30 years of doing this, I get to a point where you just know when someone's talking shit and they're not practicing what they're saying that they're talking about to help you.
Absolutely.
So it's not just looking at what they're saying, but what are they doing within their own YouTubing, or what are they doing within the advice? Like if it's friends and family, have they got a good relationship if they're advising me about mine? Have they got, you know, so it's looking at what people are doing, not just what they're saying.
Absolutely.
So, because I get people that email me and say, oh, can you look at this YouTube and tell me what you think? It's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore, because
Right.
One, it's making me watch things that I don't want to watch. And if you are confused about what they're saying, ask them, don't ask me.
Right. I agree.
That's better, because I end up watching things that I probably wouldn't watch, and probably a lot of the time wouldn't watch and be interested in, because I'm very selective these days.
Yeah.
What I watch. I mean, I don't even have a TV in London. What I watch on TV if I'm in Sydney, and what I watch on YouTube, it's like you get the sense of the presence of someone, the feeling of someone, whether they're, you know, you get better over the years at feeling people.
Absolutely. And I don't think that's what people really lead by. You know, people really lead by listening more to what people say than actually trying to feel them out, trying to
Yeah.
feel like, is this really resonating with me? Does this feel real? Is this just a quick fix? Is this going to be a long-term fix? And I think anybody that listens to your channel or listens to other people's channels, they are definitely able to tell, like, okay, I get a real feel from Agnes versus, you know, this guy over here. You know, this guy over here, I just feel like he is all about, you know, or she is all about, you know, whatever. And Agnes is really all about trying to help people, trying to teach people, you know, what really, really absolutely works. And it's like you said, like, people have to start feeling for that. Don't just listen to someone because you've been friends for 20 years. You know, don't listen to your best friend because you guys went to elementary school together and, you know, you guys are still, you know, friends today. Or don't listen to your parents just because they're your parents. You know, I mean, these types of things are hard for people to hear, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, like, do you have what I have, or have you had what I had? You know, even if you lost it, like, you know how to get it back. You know what I'm saying? And so when people listen and take advice from like friends and family, you got to understand 90+% of the people you talk to, especially in this like law of attraction circle, people aren't going to be in that circle. So 9 times out of 10, I feel like people are going to be getting advice from someone who's going to give you mundane, carnal, worldly advice. And they're not going to give you advice based on spiritual law. They're not going to do that because they don't know. And if they do give you that advice, it's going to be the wrong advice. You know what I'm saying? Because they might be like, they might say something like, oh, well, the Bible says this about, you know, riches and money. The Bible says money and riches are bad. You know what I'm saying? It says a rich man can't get into heaven. You know what I mean? They might start quoting stuff like that. And then that could cause you to say, wow, I guess money really is bad. I guess I shouldn't. But that's not the advice that you should be taking. You shouldn't be taking that advice and saying like, oh, I guess I'm not going to make money now. I guess I'm not going to try to reach my full potential, because if I do reach my full potential, that's bad. You know, I'm not going to, you know, be able to get into heaven. You know what I'm saying? So your friends, a lot of times in your family, they mean well. But what you got to understand is they're just ignorant. They simply don't know the things that you and I know, or the viewers know, about law of attraction and how to manifest. So what they do is they give you their advice in the form of their failures. They tell you, no, don't do this, because if you do that, that didn't work for me. You know, or that didn't. And it's like, I get it. That didn't work for you that way. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for me, because we are two different people on two different journeys, you know? So they give you the advice and they throw it on you in the form of like insecurities and, you know, insecurities and whatever else. And they call it advice, but no, it's not advice. It's you're insecure. So you're giving me insecure advice and I'm not going to listen to it. The problem is most people listen to it. You know what I'm saying? They listen to that advice because it's coming from a mom or a dad or aunt. They mean well, but don't cast your fears, don't cast your insecurities on me and then call it advice, because that's not what it is.
Yeah, for sure. And people do that around money, around relationships, around health, around any subject. You got to be, what do they say? The most expensive advice is free advice from those people.
Because you pay a big ass price. You will end up paying a big ass price. Like, forget that. Like, people complain about, for instance, people complain about coachings. People know that, you know, I've been in real estate and that's been my thing. But listen, paying 5 or 10 grand for a real estate course is nothing compared to the kind of money you will pay if you don't have that education. Because you will literally lose 6 figures minimum potentially if you don't get the education and you don't get the knowledge and stuff like that. You know, you can literally lose so much more money than 5 or 10 grand. People say, oh, it's too much money for real estate coaching, because when I first got into real estate, that's what me and my partner paid. We paid money to get educated. You know what I'm saying? But the money that's paid to be educated is money well spent, because you're going to avoid making $1 million mistakes. So it's outweighed. You know what I mean? So you have to start looking at money differently. You have to start looking at advice differently and saying, you know what? I don't want to pay that money, but me paying, you know, whatever, however much it is, 500 today, 1,000 today, 10,000, me paying that today is going to help me save 500,000 next year.
Yeah.
It's going to help me save $1 million the year after. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm educated now. And that's what, like you're saying, like we have to start thinking about it that way and stop necessarily going to friends and family that are using their past failures and insecurities, throwing them on you, because that's something that's a biggie. Because I talk to too many people, and I talked to one young lady, and she had mentioned, you know, oh, I'm 36 now, and my friends and family are telling me that I can't find a man who doesn't have a kid, and that I'm probably gonna have to settle. You know what I'm saying? And I told her, I said, listen, I said, that's not true. I said, just because you're 36, that doesn't mean that you have to settle and that you won't be able to find a man that doesn't have, if you want to find a man that doesn't have children, I said, you can absolutely do that. You can absolutely find that. I said, don't believe those lies from your friends or your family just because you're 36. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you don't have to settle. But these are the advice that people are getting, and I'm like, no, like, stop.
I know.
Like, don't believe that. Like, you know the power of your mind. Like, don't believe that.
Yeah, it's so true. I think this is a big a big topic about watching who you ask and watching who you listen and watching, you know, what you read, watching what, you know, whatever it is, and being mindful that, you know, we do need to talk to people sometimes, and we do need to get knowledge from somewhere and then be able to apply it to our situations, but really be mindful about who you're getting that from. And I want to be really frank here about something too. Being a YouTubers get paid, and I don't know if some of the viewers even know this, but if you see any ads throughout a YouTube, that YouTuber, because you and I were talking about, you and I watched one particular person who we won't mention, who had done a very long YouTube doing a particular thing and explaining something, and they had about, it was over 8 ads within this YouTube. Now, that person is getting paid by Google, because Google is the biggest search engine that owns YouTube. They are what is called monetized, and they will be paid from all those ads that are placed in that YouTube. So they're showing something and pretending to help people, but they're actually scooping up money in the background. It's like they're faking sincerity, I think.
Right.
They're pretending to help people, but they're scooping money off Google for the ad revenue. So I'm going to be frank with the viewers. When you see that kind of thing, remember that when you see ads and you see that many, I mean, I've even seen ads during a meditation, for goodness sake. How can you do a meditation when there's an ad, like 4 ads in the middle of it? That's just outright greed and stupidity mixed together.
Exactly.
Like, you just go, you know, I mean, I understand if it's part of your income and you might have one ad at the end, or, you know, because people can get rid of that, or the ad at the beginning, you can get rid of that. That's fine. It doesn't disturb people too much. And it gives people a little bit of income. But if there's 8 ads throughout one YouTube that's an hour long or however, that's just outright greed.
It is.
You know, and I think be mindful of that when you're viewing YouTubes, that person is kind of trying to help you, but really they're trying to help themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All about the dollar. And to all the viewers, what she is specifically talking about, and like you said, we won't mention the name. I know I mentioned the guy's name earlier, but we can probably cut that out. But the video she's talking about that we watched was a video about tarot cards. You know what I'm saying? And people, you know, she literally just stands there for however many hours and just pulling cards. And we couldn't believe, like, the ads, and we couldn't believe the views that it got. You know what I mean? And we were just like, holy cow. Like, now listen, again, like I said earlier, let me preface my comments, okay? I'm not saying
everybody,
or everybody. I'm not saying all, but I am saying a lot.
Yeah,
I'm saying a lot, you know. And when you see these things, it bothers me, and I know it bothers you, and it hurts me.
It does.
Because I see too many people putting their faith in pulling a card, and oh, you know, I can't I want to go to buy a lottery ticket, but I can't because it's not 111, you know,
Yeah.
and my perfect number is 111. I'm not in alignment, and they're paying too much attention to numerology
Yeah.
and astrologies and
Yeah.
psychics and like, again, like I said, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying
Yeah.
a good
A
amount,
lot.
you know. And I want the viewers to understand, like, you know, don't put your faith into, I mean, for Christ's sake, we were talking about it, Anya. It's like I could sit in front of you and shuffle a deck of cards and then say, this is your future. Pull this
Yeah.
card. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny? I was actually watching a couple of tarot videos over the weekend, getting ready for this interview.
Yeah.
And the lady, she straight up said in the video, she was like, a lot of times people, they get their stuff wrong. They pull the wrong cards, and
Yeah.
they believe it, and they don't even realize it. And because
Yeah.
they pulled the wrong card, and they believe whatever card that they pulled is what, I guess, their destiny or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But she said they don't realize that it's the wrong card because they're not in alignment. They're not in alignment. And that's what you and I always preach, is like, yo, when
Yes.
you get into alignment, it literally takes
Mm,
care of everything.
it does.
You don't need to put your faith in a tarot card, or you don't need to
In
put your
any external systems.
in any external system. You don't need to put your
Yeah.
faith in, is it 333? You know,
Yeah.
the number 8 keeps popping up, you know, this and that.
Yeah.
Like, these things don't matter. And
Yeah.
we've seen a video from Abraham Hicks, and
Yes.
she
Which we'll
had a
put the link down to, because that YouTube you sent me was excellent about this very topic we're talking about. So yeah, we'll put the link down for people to have a look at it. But yeah, it's putting your faith into, because you don't trust yourself to create. That's basically why we do all these things.
right. We don't, and we want validation or something from,
Reassurance.
reassurance from some outside source, or someone
Yeah.
that's known to be a psychic, you know. And I mean, there's so
Mm,
many bad psychics out here, or, you know, fake
yeah.
psychics, or, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And so it's like, and Abraham, like you said, we're going to put the link down, but Abraham Hicks talks about this, and
Yeah.
he has multiple videos on YouTube. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all of the links because there's too many,
There's
but
too many. Yeah.
she has quite a few videos that talk about tarot cards and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And she says, like, don't put your faith in that. Put your faith really basically in what you can do, what you can create, because you're the one that's creating it. You know, it's not. And she
Yeah.
tells a funny story about her husband. She goes, her husband, Jerry, played a crazy trick on her in one of the videos I watched. And he basically gets like he gets one of those, he starts reading like a horoscope, and
Book.
she's
Yeah.
getting super excited. She's like, wow, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. And how are they so right? And Jerry looks at her and goes, listen, this is not even your horoscope. I just randomly started reading you another horoscope for another person.
Yeah.
And she's like dumbfounded, like, holy
Yeah.
cow, like I thought that was
Yeah.
my horoscope, and it wasn't her horoscope. And you got to understand, like, so me personally, I'm supposed to be a Leo, right?
Yeah.
I could go out and read a horoscope for someone that's a Gemini or Aries, and it sounds like it matches my life. And I'm like, oh wow, like that could be me. I'm going through that right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mm,
just so easy to get consumed with this stuff, but it's like, you don't need any of
yeah.
that. You just need
You
to look
don't.
within. You need to
Yeah.
change yourself and understand that you are co-creating with life.
You are co-creating with life. That's a t-shirt for sure.
Yo, we about to hop on Amazon, start making massive bread. About to start making massive money.
Yeah. Actually, well, speaking of, I'm going to mention that you actually have got now, Marvin has set up his own channel and on YouTube, and it's called Marvin's Room, and his first YouTube is fantastic. I'm going to put the link down below to his channel and
Thank you.
it's such a great, I was so proud of you. I just thought, this is awesome. It was 1,000% better than my first YouTube, I can tell you that.
Listen, I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, and I had fun doing it. I'm gonna create more content. I tell people all the time. I told you personally, yes, I'm gonna tell the viewers, you are the reason. Like, the love I have for you, the respect that I have for you, and everything that you've done and helped me with, and the viewers with, is second to none. I really do dedicate it to you.
That's
so
lovely.
It's I hope you guys enjoy the journey. I'm going to keep bringing content, and like you said, the link will be there, and I put my second video up yesterday, and you can contact me, reach me, and all that good stuff. So yeah,
fantastic. And Marvin has also started coaching, because he's been doing it for free for like 18 months to 2 years anyway. He's now hopped into doing it as a proper thing, a business. And, you know, I couldn't recommend him more, because I've, you know, had a lot to do with him over the years, and I'm thrilled, because I think he's a natural. So that information will be down below as well. So
thank you.
Yeah, so it's I'm thrilled for you. I'm thrilled for you. Down below too will be all the other interviews that you and I have done, because we've done quite a few, and there's like a whole playlist of our quirky nuts and bolts that we've talked
honey
about.
mustard nuggets.
Plenty of mustard nuggets. So we will we'll add those in as well. So anything else you want to say before we you know, anything else that you've sort of...
I mean, listen, like we said, don't put your faith in the rabbit's foot, you know, like
the rabbit's foot.
Yeah, that's Florence Scovel shit in her book. There was a business partnership that she had mentioned, and they were doing great in business, and then they started going downhill, and then she realized, oh, they started putting their faith in some rabbit's claw or whatever it was.
Yep.
Stuff like that. And like she said, don't do that, you know. So to the viewers, like we talked about, like, be very mindful of who you're actually dealing with, whether it's a psychic, a tarot card, or, you know, a dating coach, or whoever. Like, just know that Agnes is teaching the real stuff. She's teaching you how to really heal yourself and get down to the problem. That's what you need to listen to. You don't need any of that other junk. You need to listen to what's real, what speaks to your spirit, not that garbage. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, anybody that's teaching self-love, then you're on the right track.
Yes.
Whoever you're listening to, if they've got that element, I think that's a thing. If they're not mentioning that, then you go, well, hang on, that's the foundation of all. So if they're not mentioning that in terms of manifesting anything, I think it's missing a very big key piece of the puzzle. Most definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Lovely. Well, I'm so glad that we've been able to do this again. And I'm in London in quarantine, so it's good to do something fun while I'm stuck here.
Quarantine. Gotta love it.
Day 5, and I've got 9 days to go, because it's 14 days. Yeah, I got 9 days to go. So I'm going to be doing lots of stuff online, and, you know, doing lots of work. And I haven't done a YouTube for a week. It's probably the longest time in 5 years I haven't done a YouTube. So I will get back to that eventually.
I know they're waiting.
They're waiting. They're waiting.
I'm not gonna lie. When you pop up, I get super excited. I'm like, oh, what's the video? Yes, I gotta watch this.
What madness is she talking about now?
No, not with madness, with realness. With realness is she talking about right now.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's sign off. We'll say goodbye. Marvin, you want to say goodbye first?
YouTubers, appreciate you guys again. See you guys real soon. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Marvin, you hang on and we'll say bye in private. And bye, everybody. Hope you got some little nuggety things out of this. See you in the next YouTube. Cheers.